All right. Welcome back to the beginning after the end. In review, episode number 3. We're reviewing episodes 5 and 6 for the series. So begin pretty much not like at the end of last episode, where Arthur and Tessia are going through a tree portal. They get there and there's elven soldiers there wanting to kill Arthur because he's a human. They do explain the reason for this. Apparently there's been conflict between humans and elves. This has been spotted by me in not many anime per se. Very rarely this has come across, basically, where this happens. I mean, the only two I could think of where this happens, where the elves are in conflict with humans. Well, there was Black Clover. That's an obvious one. The other is Soma Spider, So What? That's the only two I could personally think of where this has happened. Well, this was apparently elves I want X immediately, and just by sheer coincidence, his grandfather just happens to show up to no, he brought her home, and then we introduces the king and queen, who are his parents, obviously, and of course they still want to execute him. The son wants to, but the father's like, no, he did nothing wrong. And then, of course, after. Well, then they're brought to the palace, where, of course, he gives sort of a debriefing on exactly what's happening. He does do that. There is also basically, is there a way that we can go back to the Mythical Kingdom? It's not exactly no. The portal is open for basically another 5 years. So, you could go back right away, but it has to be with elven guards. But, of course, basically, there's after him and Tessia proceed to just walk around, he of course is holding his chest. He of course is wondering what the heck is causing. I'm thinking basically his mana buildup, but turns out my theory was wrong about when it comes to his chest. Then of course he duels Tessia's grandfather, who proceeds to use magic to have her sit on her knees, like a good little girl. And they have a fight, and I like the way he fights here, where the sword is broken, there's a piece about to head her way, so he takes basically the other half of the sword and just deflects it. And I'm like, that's a very good sense of surrounding. He's very good at that. Because of quite a while, that wraps up round 1, never time round 2, and then of course Tessia is like, nope, stop that. He does this by pinching her grandfather's butt. Yep. And there's an African apprentice, but first he wants to contact his parents first because he's not spoken to them since episode 2. So then they basically come across. Well, basically they're brought to. They go visit a friend of his, a diviner, who proceeds to use this water ability. And he thinks about his parents, what they look like, of course. First time they've been seen since episode 3. Kind of. They were confirmed to be alive, but it's the first time we actually see them. Where we kind of reveal exactly what happened after the events of episode 2. Where they're sad that Arthur's gone, but they only got their baby on the way. Apparently got rewarded for capturing the leader of the bandits, so they were given a nice house. Of course, you have where Alice is cooking nice. She's like, oh, this is Arthur's favorite food. And so at that very moment, Arthur contacts them and tells them that he is alive, he is doing perfectly fine, he is saving the Elven Kingdom to train. Oh, by the way, what exactly is causing his chest to cramp up? Apparently, it's a beast type of thing, and somehow his body is infected with it, is basically part of his body. I thought it was the mana thing. No, it was actually a beast thing. Interesting. So to stay for a while, but of course he's happy. Of course, they're happy here he's alive. Excuse me. And then, of course, he agrees to become, Tessia's grandfather's apprentice. Which then, of course, he proceeds to, later on there's some elvish bullies, which, of course, beats one of them by one punch. Just punch him in the face. That's it. I highly doubt, basically, he'll be punished for this because, the kid did provoke him. Even though that, yes, They may not like the humans, but technically this kid did provoke him, and he is the one who challenged him, and he had no choice but to accept to protect, basically, his grandfather's good name. And of course, they have the training, and then we jump ahead 3 years later, where he is now 7 years old, because I believe when we had the flash, before we jump forward, at this point he was 4 years old, because the series was a baby, eventually reached 2, and then 3, now he's 4, so I'm guessing he's 7 years old now. I know there's another time skip after this one, but yeah. And that's pretty. And of course, Jump had 3 years. He's a bit taller. Tessia is a little bit taller too. She's still pretty and looks a lot like her awesome mom. Which, of course, basically the only reason why their parents agreed to whatever she says because they love doting on her. Yep. But otherwise, though, still 2 good episodes. There is one brief flashback to his previous life in these episodes. But it's not like to take up like a quarter of the episode. The flashback itself, this brief image of him basically stabbing a person in his flashback, this is very brief. There's a mention of him basically fighting in the arena, in an arena per se. But it's like at this point they're trying to slow down in the flashbacks to his previous life. So, in a way, this is similar to Mushoku Tensei, with the whole flashback stuff in previous life, but it's not as I would say in the case of flashbacks they show for the series, usually there's a point to them for those. These ones, there's kind of a point per se, but it's not like basically like we're going through his whole life per se. But yeah, and we're roughly halfway through. Now, that is pretty much going to be it for this particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. I will see you all tomorrow for more of this and a comic corner or two, and I'm probably going to be starting up another anime. Which one? You'll find out tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.